Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be introducing you to Masters and PhD theses and how you can use them to your advantage during your undergraduate studies. So as an undergraduate student, you're constantly expected to go off and read academic papers. Now, the problem is with this is that the level of writing and language used within an academic paper is incredibly complex, and it's nowhere near the level that you need to be at as an undergraduate student. Now, I remember when I was an undergraduate student, and especially during the first couple of years, I was continuously striving to try and attain the same language level as that of an academic paper. And it often worked against my favour because I would receive feedback such as, I understand what you're trying to say, but you could have used more simpler terms or phrased it differently in order to give your own spin on it. Now, as you can tell by the title of this video, one of the ways that you can improve your writing without trying to sound as complex as an academic article is to inspect and read some of either master's theses or PhD theses. And the reason why I'm recommending this is because even at these two levels, which are above undergraduate, they're still not writing to the level as an academic paper. So this is good for you, because what you can do is identify a master's dissertation or a PhD dissertation that's in the area that you're either writing an assignment on or writing a dissertation on. Now, their word lengths are going to be much larger than the word length you're assigned, so it's not necessarily about going in and trying to go as in-depth as they are. But what I find them really useful for is going in and seeing how they've spoken about papers. Because sometimes you go off, you read a huge paper, it can be up to 20-30 pages, and you're expected to summarize it down into a couple of sentences or a paragraph. And these resources have already done that for you, so you can go to their dissertation, read it, and go, oh, okay, that's how they've summarized it. That makes me understand it more now, and I'm going to put it into my own words based on what I've read here. So there are one of two ways you can go about finding these resources. And the first one is to search on Google, and the second one is to go onto an open thesis database and search on there. So to start off with, I'm going to show you how you can access master's and PhD dissertations on Google. So the first thing you'll want to do is open up a new tab. And before we do this, you're going to want to have in mind either the area that you're doing your dissertation on or the area that your assignment is on. So for example's sake, I'm going to choose the area of narrative persuasion because this is what I did my dissertation on. Now you can see that I'm enclosing narrative persuasion within quotation marks. And what this does is it tells Google to show all search results that include narrative persuasion either within their title or within the text in the search results. And this just allows you to get more of a specific result than leaving it open. So at the minute I'm going to leave it pretty broad. You can type in other things as well to make it more specific. And then after you've typed in what you need to type in, you're going to want to type in either PhD, and you can type in thesis, or you could type in master's thesis, or you could type in PhD dissertation. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to show you PhD thesis. So this is a pretty broad search. You can go more specific, and once you've typed in what you need to do or what you're comfortable with, you're going to want to hit enter. So next you'll be taken to a page which shows all of these search results, and especially if you're using Google, this is definitely an exploration exercise. You're going to want to open lots of different links in different tabs because a lot of them that you come across won't be relevant to you, or you won't be able to access them, for example. You can also see here it says PDF, so that means we can access that straight away. So you're just going to want to hover over some of these titles, have a read of them, and open them based on what you think is useful to you. Now, when I do this on Google, I do often go past the front page. So what I mean by that is I scroll down and I go on page 2, 3, 4, 5. So we click on page 5, for example, there'll still be search results that are of some relevance to you. So again, it's just about scrolling around, reading some of the titles, reading some of the meta descriptions, and seeing which of them are applicable to you. So we've opened up a few here. You can see we've got various tabs open now of PhD theses based on narrative persuasion. And the next thing you want to do is scroll down and have a read of them. Now you can see this one has 155 pages, and to be honest, I'm never going to sit down and read all of them. So one of the ways that you can navigate your way through these documents is to find their table of contents, or the other way you can do it is search by pressing Control F or Command F if you're on Mac, and typing in a specific word that you're looking for. So let's say we're using these documents to try and find out how other people have spoken about a particular author or a particular paper that we're struggling on trying to interpret ourselves. So I have in mind a paper that I know will be referenced a lot within the narrative persuasion literature. I'm going to type that in, and I'm going to type in Green and Brock, 2000. So you can see here there's 22 entries of this particular author and year, and what you can do is have a read about how this person has spoken about it. So sometimes it won't be in the context that you're looking for, in which case you can just press enter and it will take you down the pages. And what you want to do is just have a read of what the context is that they're providing when they're referencing this particular paper. So you want to have a read of the sentence that comes before the reference, and what this allows you to do is just understand where this paper and why this paper is being talked about and for what reasons. Another way of using these documents is to focus on a particular section. So you can see this one here says 2.1 background, and if we read the first sentence, the use of alcohol by adolescents is a growing concern in the Netherlands. So that gives us the context as to what the PhD thesis is about. You can obviously scroll up to the top and see what the title is as well. And if this interests you or is applicable to the area that you're researching, then you may want to just read the background as well and take note of all the references that they're using within this, because they could be of incredibly importance to you and getting a high mark in your dissertation or assignment. Another thing to mention is you shouldn't limit your search results to just opening one particular PhD thesis. We've opened up a few here because we want to see how other people are talking about it, and the broader the better. Now, you can also search in other PhD theses for these same authors that you did in the previous one. And one thing that you should be aware of is not all of these theses will use the same referencing system. So for example, in the other one it was green and an and sign. This time it's green and as in the word. So just be aware of that in case you're looking for how other people are talking about authors. Another thing I like to use PhD theses for is to just get a general overview of the research area. So even if their research that they're conducting is of no importance or of no use to you and your assignment or dissertation, you can read the first couple of paragraphs, which will be the introduction and the context section, and this will introduce you to a lot of important references that you should be familiar with within the field. So again, the whole point of this exercise is pretty much to just have an explore, open up a variety of PhD theses or master's theses. It doesn't really matter too much. You're just looking around to see how other people have talked about papers, what they're doing their research on, and it's just here to inspire you and show you that you can write about things without trying to sound like an academic researcher. So I've shown you how to access PhD theses and master's theses from Google. We're now going to make our way over to an open thesis database and see how that works. Now there are various ways you can access these open thesis databases from the internet. If you're coming from my website under the study guide section and the using master's and PhD theses to your advantage page, you can scroll to the bottom and I've listed 3 of the most popular open access databases. But if you didn't do that, then you can just go to Google and type in Open Thesis Database. And that will show you a variety of search results in which you can access databases that hold theses and dissertations. As far as I'm aware, there's no advantage of using one over the other one. It's up to you. You can have an explore and see which one suits you the best. But for this video, we're just going to click on this bottom one, EBSCO Open Dissertations. So this will open up a new page, and as it says, you can search thousands of open dissertations. So again, the process is very similar to that of Google. You're searching for the same thing, just this time you'll know that all of these search results will in fact be dissertations. So again, we're just going to type in narrative persuasion and then hit enter. So you'll see a page similar to this based on whatever you typed in the search bar, and again it's just about reading the titles, opening them in a new tab and having a look at their contents. So I've gone into one of the papers that I opened in a new tab, and you can see here there's a subject section that allows you to see what the dissertation is about, and if that's not enough then you can scroll down and read the summary section. And again, as I mentioned in the Google section, it doesn't really matter too much if it's not necessarily completely applicable to the area that you're researching. Sometimes it can just be good to go in and have a look at what these authors are saying about particular papers or particular sections that then you can apply to your dissertation. Now, once you think you've found a dissertation that either suits you or you believe can provide some good context into the area that you're researching, you're going to want to go down here to the URL section and click on this. And this should take you to a page where you can then access or download the dissertation. So we can see here there's a button saying download. If we click on that, it should open up in a new tab in PDF format. Now, once you've got to this stage, it's up to you what you do. You can either stay within the browser and have a scroll down, go to the context section and see what it's about. And once you've had a read, you can then download it to your files on your computer if you feel like you're going to access it again and again, because it really is useful, especially the background or maybe even the methodology, especially if you're tackling the research area of your dissertation. So how you use these resources is completely up to you. There are a variety of ways in which you can use them. As I've said previously, you can use it for context, you can use it for methodology inspiration, or you could even use it to frame your research area, because you can see here it says future directions. So if we scroll down to that section and read it, then they would provide some areas that need researching further, and you may go, oh okay, that's interesting, I'm going to do my dissertation on that. So that's about it, guys. This is a guide on how to use masters and PhD theses or dissertations to your advantage. You can use them however you want. I personally found them quite a useful tool, especially during the dissertation stage of my undergraduate degree. So thank you guys for watching and have a nice day.